time. So for here, we are doing for the two version of the gingerbread house. Sorry, it's not gingerbread house, it's gingerbread man, sorry. Okay, so I have a two version here. One is with egg, one is without, one is eggless. Okay, so I will show you guys for the eggless first. For the eggless recipe, I think you guys can get in the Facebook already. For the whole egg recipe, actually it's same like yesterday. What was Chef Tan doing for the gingerbread house? So on here, for the recipe, for this recipe I'm using for the premium method. For the first one, you can get your butter. For this recipe, we are doing for the premium method on here. Butter, brown sugar on here. On here, I'm using for the molasses sugar. For this molasses sugar, you can buy on the market. If difficult to buy for this recipe, you can use for honey. Okay, you can replace by brown sugar and mix some honey inside. So molasses sugar on the market actually have two types. One is already crystallization, just like that. It's like a normal sugar. So for the second is a molasses syrup. So for this molasses syrup, if you're using molasses syrup, you can cut down for 20% for the recipe from the milk here. Because molasses syrup, they contain more liquid inside. So I prefer you guys cut down for the milk content. So how you guys cut down if you're using for the molasses syrup? On this milk recipe is 100 ml. So you cut down 20%, that means you can cut down 20 ml for the milk here.
The butter is cold or room temperature?
For the butter, you can use the chiller temperature, it's okay already. Okay? So get the molasses sugar on here. So make for the premium method, let the butter and the sugar, let him beat up, more fluffy. So on another side here, okay, where is the camera? The main camera.
Main camera.
Okay. So for another side, for the cake flour, salt, cinnamon powder, ginger powder, and baking soda. So all dry ingredients you can mix inside. For the hops, it's up to you guys. Some people they don't like cinnamon powder, just change to nutmeg or any spice, is up to you guys. So you can check back on here now for this recipe. Okay, after mix well everything, so make it medium speed. Let the color, let the butter and sugar become more lighter color from here. So you take some time. After all the sugar, the molasses, brown sugar and the butter all mixed well already. So you can prepare for the milk, slowly add the milk inside. Always for the premium method is the same. Premium method always is butter, sugar, beat until fluffy. For this fluffy, it depends what texture you need. If you want the texture is more sandy texture, so you beat more air inside, incorporate more air inside. If you want the texture is more a little bit crispy, so just mix more lesser air inside. So it depends on you. So like normally cookie for this, I make it more a little bit sandy texture, so I make more incorporate more air inside. So if for cake like butter cake, so like this butter cake, I will make too many air inside, I will make more lesser, because if you make too much of the air inside, so after your cake come out, you shrink more. Okay? And for the milk part on here, after here become lighter color, the butter become lighter color, I will continue add the milk inside. For the milk, I will suggest you guys using for the room temperature milk. Why? Because more easy to emulsify the thing inside. Because milk is the liquid part and you have a lot of fat content inside here. So it's more easy to emulsify everything inside. I will scrap a little bit on here. You can see the color actually is become more lighter color on here now. So what you see here, the color become more lighter color. Add the milk part by part inside. So when you add the milk, you can see when the milk and the butter mix well, you can continue keep add on a little by little inside.
Is brown sugar and molasses are different?
It's different. Okay, for molasses sugar, okay, molasses sugar is actually from a sugar cane. After that, you just sugar cane after process. Okay, so that sugar is molasses sugar. It's not fully processed much of the sugar. Actually, you can get more original taste from a sugar cane. Okay, if you go to the brown sugar, it's after molasses, they process one more time, you become a brown sugar. So if you want to get a very strong original from a taste from a sugar, so you can get for the molasses sugar. But for this molasses sugar, you cannot change 100% of the sugar inside. If not, you feel your stomach is not feeling well. Okay, normally if I use this molasses sugar or the molasses syrup, I can give you maximum go to 50%. So for one recipe, you need to depend. Like some sugar, like brown sugar cookie, you want a more stronger taste, I would prefer you guys can use half recipe go to molasses sugar. Okay, but you need to depend. Now I'm using it's a crystallized molasses sugar, and one more is a molasses sugar is a syrup type. So if you're using for the syrup type, that means have contain the moisture inside. So you need to cut down the moisture, the percentage inside your recipe. Okay. So after you can check for the color, it become more lighter color on here. So now just add all the flour inside and just mix well. After you add any dry ingredient like cake flour, any flour, right, you don't create too much of the gluten. Okay, especially for pastry. If you create more gluten inside, you put inside oven baking, it will spring more. So after mix well, then just done. So mix well, be careful.
Nice explanation. Thank you, Chef.
Okay. So mix well everything. So make sure stir well the dry ingredient all inside. Okay. Just like that, mix up everything, remove. So on here, after you mix the dough, some chefs they like to make the dough rest inside the chiller around like 10 minutes to 15 minutes. Let the gluten is more relaxed, so when we're baking, you won't be strained too much. Okay. For me, I do like to do a double job. So normally I will just do the parchment roll become for my this thickness for the gingerbread man. I will using for the 5 mm. So I direct roll to 5 mm and just like that keep inside for the chiller for letting rest for 10 minutes until 15 minutes. Let the gluten more softer so you bake inside you won't strain too much. So it depends on you. If for shelf life, some people with a quite big recipe, some people they cannot using too much of the recipe on here, so we can get half. So just wrap inside with the plastic wrap, keep inside the freezer. For the dough, you can keep for 1 month inside the freezer and make sure your freezer is keep maintained below -14 Celsius. Okay. So double parchment. So just roll to 5 mm, just roll to 5 mm like this. So keep inside for the chiller. So after that, then we can prepare for cutting. So on another side, I'm making for the eggs with egg recipe inside. So same process like just now, quite easy. Butter, all type of the sugar. So on here, I'm using for the honey. It's same like yesterday recipe. Everything mixed well. And start for the premium method. So same process, ginger powder, salt, so at here is baking powder, and cinnamon powder. If you find out you're using for this, if you find out for using this recipe, you find out for this gingerbread recipe a little bit different like normal one. Normal one when you eat it's not very crunchy. Okay, when you eat it's more a little bit softer because some chefs they're using for the bread flour inside. Okay, for me if for a good texture I like using this one. Okay, because the taste is more like a cookie texture. So some people like when I working in the hotel, I won't using this recipe because the texture is like cookie, so it's easy to absorb the moisture. So when I working in the hotel, they have a big house in the view. Even the person can go inside. So if doing like this, I using for this recipe, the house for the gingerbread house is easy to soggy. So I not prefer using this recipe for make a big house like that because that item you put inside the hotel. Okay, and they didn't have any power also. So if you want a good texture, I prefer this one. If you want for another texture, normally they are used for bread flour. So it's not easy to absorb more moisture inside. But the texture won't be so nice, won't be crunchy. So it depends you guys which item you guys want. You want a good texture one or you want just for a display.
Chef, you using baking soda or baking powder?
On here I'm using baking soda on this recipe. Huh? Sorry? Oh, sorry. Baking soda. Follow the recipe, sorry. Yeah. So just mix well until fluffy. So same technique. After that, put the eggs slowly by slowly. Let the eggs and the butter emulsify.
Chef, can you explain the molasses substitution by reducing milk 20%?
Sorry. One
Could
second.
you explain again the molasses substitution
Okay.
by reducing the milk
Okay.
20%?
Okay. Sure. So here, now what I'm using for the molasses sugar is crystalline molasses sugar. It's crystallization molasses sugar. So that means the texture is a little bit like brown sugar. When you touch it, it's a sugar type. Okay. So in the market you can find two molasses sugar. One molasses sugar is already been crystallized. It look like brown sugar, but if you taste it, it's very strong of the sugar cane taste. Okay, the original sugar cane taste. Okay, and another way, some market you can buy is the molasses sugar syrup. Okay, that is sugar syrup. It's totally not same. Okay, so if you're using for the sugar syrup, molasses sugar to replace this recipe, the Eggless recipe, so you need to cut down 20% for the milk in this Eggless recipe. So if you see my recipe, my milk is 100 ml for the milk. So if you want to using for the molasses sugar syrup, so you cut down 20% of the molasses sugar. That means 100 deduct by 20%. That means you get the answer is 80 ml. Okay. Because you guys want to understand, when our chef create the recipe, right? Normally we are using for the recipe, we need to count up the format like percentage. So in this recipe, I have how many fat content inside, how many liquid content, and how many dry ingredients. So like that, if now I add the more liquid part inside my recipe, so I need to deduct another liquid part. Maybe another liquid part of milk, I can deduct the recipe inside for the milk. Okay. So if you just without deduct the milk, right? So your recipe come up with extra put 20% of the moisture inside. So you don't come up with become extra more moisture. So same recipe, done. Just get all the dry ingredients put inside. So you can see the color on this recipe, right? This because we're using for the honey, so the color you can see more lighter color. So it depends the flavor you guys, which one you guys want. If you want, you also can change the honey on this recipe, go to molasses sugar syrup also can. It's up to you because everyone flavor is not same, the tasting is not same, so I cannot get 100%.
Can we use Indian jaggery?
Sorry, Indian what?
Indian jaggery as substitute for molasses sugar crystal.
Indian jagger, I'm sorry, I still don't know what is Indian jagger. Maybe I will keep this question and answer you guys on tomorrow, okay? I need to go back to do some research first because I didn't use this before, so I cannot promise you what is that. Tomorrow will still be me, so I will explain you on tomorrow. Okay?
Macam palm sugar.
Okay. Okay. Actually, this one I go to do the reverse so that I don't want to simply to say here first. On here, same I roll to 5 mm. I will prefer you guys roll to 5 to 6 mm because it's more thinner, you bake, the inside is more crunchy. If you're more thicker, right, inside is difficult to cook. So you want to use more lower temperature to dehydrate the dough. Keep this inside for the chiller.
Chef, is there any substitute of the cake flour?
Sorry, Sorry, once again.
Any substitute for cake flour?
Okay, if you want to change for the cake flour, maybe some people is some people is allergic by the gluten, right? Okay, so I would suggest you just change to the rice flour. Okay, rice flour you change to 100%. That means if now I have 100 gram of the cake flour, you change to the rice flour, just what same 100 gram of the rice flour. So you won't be affect too much, but of course you want to remember the texture a little bit changing. Okay, I cannot 100% to give back you the texture same like this recipe. Okay, but normally if I using for something like vegan or the gluten free, I will change a little bit. Okay, sometimes some people even they have allergic a lot of things, so I will use for the chip bean powder. But that one you have a problem. The chip bean powder, the taste is too strong already, so you need to use 5. This if you want to use for chip bean powder, so I will prefer you guys to use something like a strong spice to cover the chip bean taste. Okay, so it's depend on you guys. Okay, I only can help you guys on the gluten-free part. It's just change to rice flour. This is a good solution on this. Okay, on here, just after chill, gingerbread man cutter. Don't worry about the dough. The dough you can reuse quite a lot of time. That means the leftover dough you can just keep in. After that, mix well together. Then you can keep continue use. If you want to keep more longer time, remember just keep inside the freezer and make sure your freezer is below 14 Celsius always. So the shala can go to 1 month.
Chef, can you please give us an idea? If we take order for Gingerbread Man, what should the process? How to keep this?
For me, actually for this is type of the cookie. It's quite easy. The one. Can you I answer this question on the last? Because when I finish anything, I will give you see my packaging. So I will give you a good idea for that. Okay. So all these dough, if you want, just combine together and keep back to the freezer so you can keep for 1 month. Anytime if you want to use it, just take out before 1 day, defrost inside the chiller.
Chef, why do you use an overturned baking tray?
Very easy because I don't like my baking tray. I want to bake something flat. So if I'm not doing like that, my steel pan is a little bit big, so a little bit curved on there. So that's why I will do it from over, just like that. Let my cookie more flat. If your tray is flat and this is smaller a bit, for the steel pan is more smaller, one more size, so you don't need doing this step. Okay. So I will get for the eggless one. This is with egg. I get for another version is without egg. So just picking like that. Okay, small tip for you guys. Sometime, okay, you guys, not everyone in the kitchen they will install the AC inside, so you're quite hot in your kitchen. So get some tray, okay, a thick tray, or you can get some chopping board, okay, a clean thick chopping board. Keep inside for the freezer. Okay, after keep inside for the freezer, when you want to use anything, just get a chopping board, a frozen chopping board or the frozen tray, just put under it. After that, just like that, and just working under the frozen chopping board or frozen tray. So you're taking more longer time to you doing for the your working time. Especially when you're doing a lot of cookie or some tart. How to get a crispy cookie? I'm sorry. This recipe is crispy already. This recipe is quite crispy. What I taste already.
Same like yesterday one, right? Yeah, it's very crispy.
It's very crispy already. Sometimes if you guys want a crispy cookie, right? Okay, that's mean the fat for this recipe, right? Why the cookie will be crispy? Because the fat is have a certain amount. That means the fat is quite a lot. Okay, so the flour a little bit, maybe like fat inside the recipe is around 40. Example, fat around 40%. So the flour around 30%. But this dough is nice when you're baking. The dough is come up, it's quite crispy. Of course, you still have another ingredient like sugar, another thing. Okay, but like this, your high fat, less flour, less dry ingredient. So for this recipe, you come up it's more extra crispy. But we have a one item, it's difficult to work in because the dough is soft very fast. That's why the dough come up is extra crispy. Some market they use, because I need to save some cost, they use a lot of dry ingredient because dry ingredient is more cheaper. So they use a lot of dry ingredient and more lesser of the fat. So this dough when you eat is a little bit tastes like the flour you're eating. Okay, so it depends. So just like that, we can bake inside the oven. For this temperature, I'm using for the 5 mm. So I use for the temperature 170. I will put for 12 minutes first. This between 12 minutes until 20 minutes. Okay. For me, check the color until golden brown. That is how you guys check. Okay. A lot of the chef, right, it's difficult to tell you guys timing because when the size is different, one big, one small, or the thickness is different, the timing also will be different. Okay, and one more thing is your oven. Like now, what I'm using for my oven is now I give you. Normally, yesterday I baked my cookie is around like finished product is 20 minutes. So, but if you use your oven, maybe it's too strong. Maybe you can get 15 minutes, then will be done. So it depends on your oven. Okay. If the texture it comes, now it's 5 mm. If your dough become like 7 mm to 8 mm, so you need to lower your temperature. You cannot use for 17 Celsius. You can use for 160 or 155 Celsius to baking this one. More thicker, you need to use more lower temperature. Okay? So just bake inside, I put for 12 minutes first. Okay, and for this, you can trigger out. Okay, what is trigger out? Because you need to release the air, okay, from outside. Okay, if now you close off this, we call it this trigger in. If trigger in, the air inside, you keep rotate. So your thing inside, like example, like cake, muffin, something, they'll start to proof out, they'll raise up the thing. Okay, but for this cookie, I just need to maintain the shape. So no need doing this step, just trigger out. Okay, let the air, okay, don't let the pressure too strong inside. Okay, just like that. So let it maintain the shape and just cook well, just like that. So this is what I baking. Okay, from yesterday. So you can see the shape, you won't be run out too much on here. Okay, so I have another small tips for you guys.
So the fan mode should be on?
Sorry?
The fan mode?
Yeah, should be on, the fan mode. The fan mode inside your home oven, normally home oven, if you on the fan mode, it's just let the temperature even. Okay? Give me the doctor. Okay, always when you guys see we are in academy on here, okay, our this APCA chef online, always we are using this because seal pan, okay. Pan in the French meaning is that means bread, okay. Actually this item is quite handled something like dough. So you can see a little bit hole on here because this hole can help you release the air inside. So when you bake, it can help you holding the dough and release the air on the bottom. So you won't extend too much, okay. Your dough won't extend too much, okay. But in your home, if without this seal pan, what you can do is only the way you can using this because docker, or of course you can use for the fork also can. It's the same way. So use the docker. 1, 2, like this. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Just like that. So just use for the cookie cutter, cut it and put on a parchment or seal pad if you without this one. So you need to doing this step. Okay? You need to use for the docker. Okay? But for me, if you want to, even using this technique for the docker one, he still will be extend a little bit. It cannot be 100%. So a good solution for you guys can try go buy for this the seal pan. This actually is not very expensive. Okay? If you buy for this, you can keep reuse quite longer time. Okay?
Total baking time should on the pan.
Total baking time should on the pan. So next step, doing for the roller icing. Yesterday, Chef Tan was using for the roller icing is using by egg white, icing sugar, and white vinegar. Okay, 3 of this recipe. So today, if you want using for the eggless, I just change the egg white and vinegar go to lemon juice. Okay, it's more simple this way. And for me, depend on you because a little bit acid, the taste won't be too sweet also. So just sieve for the egg, just sieve for the icing sugar. Put for the lemon juice inside. Put half of the lemon juice first to check for the texture. So now you can check for this. I just put half of the lemon juice inside. Okay, the lemon juice here, it just let you adjust the liquid for the thickness for the roller icing. So now you can see it's quite liquid on here. So you can extract actually this recipe, right? You can use like for this recipe you can adjust because sometimes you put the roller icing more longer time and outside it will be dry and dry. The roller icing will be dry, so you can extra put a little bit lemon juice inside. So on here I extra put some icing sugar to let the thickness become more thick a little bit for using for bite. This one you can estimate yourself. Mix sure everything.
How many cookies from this recipe?
Sorry?
How many cookies?
How many cookies what?
You get from this recipe?
How many cookies you can get for this recipe? For this half recipe, I think you can get around like 30 pieces for this recipe.
Depending on the size?
Depend on your size. Because now I'm using for this cutter is around like 7 cm my cutter.
Just asking the eggless one, same right?
Same amount. So now, remember for this recipe, for your lemon juice, you can estimate a little bit. Don't put everything inside first because you can still adjust. If you feel your raw icing is too liquid, just add the icing sugar inside, just like that easy. Okay? Only have 2 recipes inside, so you don't worry. So you can check my thickness on here. Okay? So like this thickness is okay for piping for the gingerbread house. For this texture, it's easy to pipe for the gingerbread man, so it's okay. Of course, if you want pipe like yesterday for gingerbread house, it's thick, you can extra put more icing sugar inside. So this is depend on you. Okay? So now we can prepare for pipe. So, 2 ways to keep your roller icing. The first way, keep your roller icing just like that. Use a plastic wrap, surface contact on the surface. Okay? Another way, just get the cloth, just spread up a little bit, just like that. Don't let the icing sugar dry. This is normally what I'm doing for process to working. When I'm piping for my gingerbread man or gingerbread house, normally I just get a wet cloth. Okay? Don't too wet. Okay? Just put like this. Okay? Just to let the surface dry. Okay, if you want for keeping for your shelf life, use for the cream foam. Okay, use for the plastic wrap. Surface contact. Make sure it's surface contact. If not, on the tomorrow you can see the surface all will crystallize. Just like that. So just like that, you can keep inside for the chiller. Okay? For this, you can keep around 1 week. So on here, I have some different color. On here, the color is up to you. Depend which color you want. So, just get relaxed. On here, just pipe it, okay? Pipe for the outline first. Just like that. But for the outline, just let him dry so we can continue on the next. Before that, I think our oven is done, so we can go check for our oven first. So you can check for this texture. Okay, you can press a little bit on the center. You can feel a little bit soft on here. Okay. So check for the eggless one. Still have a little bit soft after 12 minutes. So we can continue add. I will add it 6 minutes. After that, I will double check again. Okay. All the way process when you're baking is the same. Okay. For the cookies, actually it's quite easy. Just remove out this tree out all the way. Okay. So just now I already draw one of the outline. I'll just put on the dehydrator, let it dry. So you guys can check on here if the lighter color one is for the with the whole egg. If the darker color one is with the molasses one. That's mean for the eggless one. For the color part, it's up to you guys. So this is for just now when I pack that one, this is for the gentlemen, this is for the ladies. Before you guys can go to the Google, download a picture. After that, just check with the picture how to for the nice picture you can buy it. So now I need to draw for the outline first, for the skirt and for the skin. Okay. One more sheet. Draw the outline.
Does the cookie have to be the only man shape? I know it's traditional, but can we do other design?
Of course can. You can use any cutter what you like. Okay. Of course, if you want to go to the more modern style, you can cut for the woman shape. After that, yeah, I have a woman here. Okay, I draw some the woman version one. So just draw it. After that, you can cut a little. The another side is a heart shape and just stick on the top. Up to you. Okay, the design is up to you guys. How you guys want, and you can just make something like this for your kid. Okay, and just prepare more coloring, the color icing sugar, and let them draw. Up to you guys.
Which color to use in icing? Is it gel or is it liquid?
On the market, okay. On the market, only have two type of the color. Okay, this normally we call it dissolved in the fat solution. Okay, and another is dissolved in the liquid solution. Okay, so in dissolved in the fat solution, actually they have a liquid type and a fat type. Okay, even for the liquid part. Okay, they also have a powder type and a liquid type, both type. Okay, so you want to check your color is dissolved in the liquid part or the fat part. Okay, so you need to check for your packaging and check for the color. A good way for the testing for you guys, just get for the water, a plain water, and get your coloring. Just mix some color inside your water. If the color can dissolve in the water, that means that is water solution. If some of the coloring when you put inside the water it cannot dissolve well, that means that is fat solution. Okay. If you guys want, tomorrow I can show a small test for you guys, let you guys see. Because in the market, a lot of the brand, okay, a lot more than 1,000 brand. So of these 1,000 brand, how you guys check it? Normally I just get the water and just test like that. Okay. Maybe tomorrow, a good question, I will show you guys how to test, how testing that.
Can cookies with icing be made during summer? Hot season. Can the cookies icing be made during summer?
Of course, get up to you.
Malaysia also hot. What if you don't have the dehydrator?
What if you don't have dehydrator? You need to waste more your electric on the oven. Okay, you need to on your oven. After that, you need to set your oven around 40 Celsius to 60 Celsius. Okay, 40 Celsius to 60 Celsius, just get the cookie, put inside the dehydrator. Okay, but that I not very suggest because that is spending a lot of electric. Okay, if you're using for the oven to doing for dehydrator. If you buy for this dehydrator, it will be more easy. If you really don't like spend the electric and you want to make this item easy to dry, another way, just get after bite, just put on the fan and let him dry. But we have a problem if after the gingerbread man dry, he will be shining. Okay, if you want the color come up a little bit shining on the surface, you need a dehydrator. Dry it immediately. Okay, this is the way we can help. So you can check the color, and when you touch on the center, you feel more solid a little bit. Okay, so just like that, remove it. Okay. So normally after oven, I prefer you guys just doing like that. Remove from the baking tray. Just like that. Why I need to doing this way? Because the baking tray is still hot. If you continue put on the baking tray, on the bottom it's easy to get burned. Okay, like this, I like to doing like this is 100% cooked. Okay, so when you eat it, it's more crunchy. So just like that. So now I need to doing for the second. You need to practice your piping skill on here. So when you pipe off the corner first. When you pipe, make sure every time overlap in the last. Like this on the center, they don't have too much of a trap air.
Sorry, just now we said gel coloring or liquid coloring?
you can use for the gel coloring. Okay, so tomorrow I will show you guys the coloring. Normally what color we use. I'm using for gel coloring on here.
Sorry, just now have a lost connection. What do you do if we don't have a dehydrator? Please repeat, and also why use a dehydrator?
Okay, yeah, sure. Give me a second, please. Let me finish this. I'll answer you that one. Okay, after dry, after pipe, sorry, just tap a little bit. After pipe, I don't want to see too much of the wave on here. Okay, make sure the surface is smooth. So just put inside the dehydrator. Okay, a first solution for you guys, if you guys don't have a dehydrator, okay, so you can just use for your oven. Okay, set up the temperature on 40 Celsius to 60 Celsius. Okay, it's up to you. 40 to 60. I prefer around like 45, 50. It's okay already. So using for the oven, after you bite all the gingerbread man, okay, just put inside the oven. Just let the oven to dry it. This is the first solution. But this solution will waste you a lot of electric. Okay, because oven use a lot of the electric. Okay, so a good solution, you better go buy a dehydrator. It's not very expensive. Okay, honestly, it's quite cheaper. You can find one. Okay. Third way, if you really don't want to spend some money to buy this dehydrator or use for the oven, only the way after you pipe everything, just put on the fan. Okay, just get the fan and just keep dry it. Okay, just like that. But the color come out won't be shining too much. Okay, because it don't have a heat on there. A dehydrator function is after you come out the gingerbread, you can see a little bit shining on here, the surface. Okay, you want to, after you pipe the raw icing and immediately and dry up a little bit heat. Okay, so you can come out, you can check for the color. It's very nice and more shining. Okay, this is the way why we need to use for a dehydrator. Of course, if you don't have a budget to buy the dehydrator, only can be just used for the fan to replace. Or you want to spend more electric bill, just use oven. Okay.
So did you bake for 20 minutes at 170 degrees?
Okay. For just on that timing, I use around 170 Celsius, 12 minutes plus 6 minutes, around 18 minutes. This oven I use 18 minutes. So it depends your own oven. Okay, all oven is not same.
You said earlier that after this we need to bake at 120 degrees as well. 120 degrees as well.
I didn't say that. I just said just use for 170 Celsius to bake.
For how many hours do we have to keep the cookies in the dehydrator?
For my suggestion, after you bite the raw icing, you can straight away put inside for a dehydrator. Okay? For this way, it's more good.
In fruit dehydrator, we need to set the temperature?
Yes, fruit dehydrator is the same. Normally, fruit dehydrator we also can using by this. If depend, you can set the temperature to. For this one, I set around like around 40 Celsius. Another way, after you guys bite everything, make sure you guys need to dry before you bite another color on the top. If not, both color you cross over each other, the color will become more lighter and they'll mix the color.
So how much time again do we have to keep inside the dehydrator?
For dehydrator, until the thing totally dry. Normally 12 hours. Okay, 12 hours until the thing totally dry.
12 hours.
Yeah, 12 hours. So same way, after done, just step a little bit. Always when you bite, make sure you bite the outline first and keep cross over.
So it means we have to keep only for 30 minutes?
For what?
So you think is it for the icing?
30 minutes? What's the meaning 30 minutes? That's mean after I bite?
Yeah. Normally after you bite, how long do you wait? If you use the dehydrator?
Normally after I do like this, okay, I will put like this around 12 hours in a dehydrator. That means you can just after bite, just let it overnight, then come back, tomorrow you can keep it.
Can royal icing cake decoration pieces also be dried in the dehydrator?
Okay? If you put some, later I will show you. Do you see some this? Just now I show you that one. I put some small decorate for the sugar one. If your temperature is not over than around like 70 Celsius, 80 Celsius, you can keep it because both also is sugar. Okay, the sugar need what temperature to melting around like 50, 60 Celsius. If you make your dehydrator very hot, of course they will start melting. So done. I can make another color now. Just get some green light to make for the clock.
If we decorate a fruit cake with royal icing, do we need to dry?
Oh, no need. Don't dry off the fruit cake. If you dry for the fruit cake, it become a biscuit or cookie. Okay? You want to know the category on here. This is a biscuit, so that's why we can dry on here. If you're using for the royal icing for the fruit cake, no, don't dry it because that item, the royal icing for the fruit cake, where you need to keep for the fruit cake is a chiller. So when you keep inside for the chiller, when the sugar, you keep inside for the chiller, when you take out from room temperature, they're sweating. So that sweating, okay, that water sweating can help your royal icing become shiny. Okay, so you don't worry about that. Okay, but if now this is a cookie, I not keep inside for the chiller, I need to keep in the room temperature. That's why I need to use for the dehydrator dry it. So it's a different category.
From what I understood, dry undecorated cookie for half an hour and then after icing for 12 hours.
Of course can. This one is depend. I just can tell you this is depend for your dry. When you touch it and if you feel dry, then that's okay. It doesn't matter if for the how many timing one. For me, like this one, I will keep dry until overnight, so I can just use it. Okay. Just important part is the thing must be dry. That's it. So you can see I keep piping the thing and keep put inside for a dehydrator.
So what about the gingerbread house after doing the royal icing decoration?
For that it's too big already, so I not suggest you guys dry it. If you want dry, you can dry in pieces. It's been like a small pieces. The house haven't built. You want to check like yesterday for the chef time they built the gingerbread house. Normally in the finishing they just use for snow powder doing for the finishing. Okay, if something that on the top they have icing sugar, the royal icing, that by pieces, is you can dry on the dehydrator. So it's depend on you. Because normally snow, you can get the effect is snow powder. So you doesn't care about the thing come out will be shining or not shining. For gingerbread man, after come out, I want to sell in the packaging. When the royal icing look a little bit shining, it's more nicer to look and more easy to sell. It's a good, nice surface also.
We have to dry the undecorated cookie for half an hour.
You need to dry the undecorated cookie in half an hour. No need for that. After you wake up from the oven, you can straight away pipe and just put it inside. Pipe for the raw icing and just put inside the dehydrator. So just like that. So now we can peel the ice. Okay, just make a black color. So make sure when you put any color on the top, on here, make sure the bottom color will be dry. You can dry for 20 minutes, half hour, at least when you touch it, you won't sticking with your finger, that's it. So you can continue add another color on top. Okay, in the last, I just draw the mouth on here. Then, small eyes. So on here, when I drawing my mouth, I just use the black color, the roller icing, a little bit liquid, and just get for the toothpick. Just go by free hand. You need to keep in the chiller. You need to keep in the chiller. For raw icing, if you want to keep inside the chiller, you can keep for 1 week. If you feel the raw icing a little bit liquid from the chiller, just add some icing sugar inside. Okay?
How to get the black color? You need to add cocoa powder?
No. Just get the liquid gel. Just get the liquid gel for the black color. That's it. Sorry guys, how about I show you guys the color now. I just explain the color, since a lot of people asking the color. Adriana, can you help me take some liquid gel and the black color solution one, the fat solution and the powder, so I can give you guys. So you can see on here, just everything done. Okay, for the smile face, of course you can use for the edible marker to draw it. Or if you want, don't want to spend too much of money to buy the edible marker, just get the raw icing, make it more liquid a little bit, and use a toothpick and just freestyle to draw it. Okay. After everything done, just like that. Okay. I'll keep inside the dehydrator. Okay. Of course, you can keep the dehydrator 1 hour, 2 hours, up to you. But for me, I like overnight. Just put on the dehydrator overnight. I will keep it. Okay. So I show you guys how to checking for your color. Normally I will just check like that with the water. Hold on a second. I just put on here and I can put my presentation first. powder 的，可是是 sugar solution macaron 的。Okay. So in the market, there's quite a lot of different, like example like this brand. Okay. Maybe you can see in the camera. So get some water, just put a little bit color on the top, just mix well. Okay, you can see it well. You can see it well for the color. It's quite easy to dissolve inside the color. So you understand for this must be a water solution. Okay. For another one, this is the black color on the another brand. Just put a little bit inside. This is a gel type. Okay, this is a gel type. So you can see it's very easy to to mix inside on here. Normally, they have a two version. One is we call liquid gel, okay, it's a gel type. Another way actually is airbrush using, okay. For the person airbrush something for we doing for sugar display, another thing, that color will be more lighter color, okay. Like I give you an example, like one drop of this lemon yellow liquid gel is almost equal to the 10 drop of the airbrush color. So if you want the color is very light color, so you can using that for the airbrush color. If you want the color is very strong color, you can using for this the gel type, okay. But for both also is using for a water solution. You can see it. So I give you guys see another different item. You need to mix well. This is a fat solution, okay. This is a fat solution one. So if you see this fat solution, you mix inside the water. So you can see the surface is difficult to mix well the thing because this is oil. This is using for plum oil. Okay, that means this is a coloring with plum oil mixed together. So you can see the color, it won't be dissolved. It just floating on the color on the top. So this kind of the color is using for the fat solution. Example, now I have a chocolate. I want to mix my white chocolate with some color, so I can using this. Okay, because the chocolate is 100% is the fat content. So you can using this one to use it. But if now you're using the liquid gel, this water solution inside the chocolate, they cannot be mixed well. Okay? So now we go through for the powder. Okay? In the market, they have a powder form also. So this is a powder form. So if you see, when you mix well inside, it's difficult. The color is difficult to mix well. It's difficult to dissolve. Actually, this is for the chocolate. It's a fat solution powder form. Okay? So I give you see another different powder on here. So this is a fat solution powder. This is also is a powder form, but it's water solution. Okay? So can you mix inside the color, the water? You can see it dissolves very fast. Straight away, everything will become a red color on here. So you can see this is a powder form, but water solution. So if you guys want to make a small testing, you can make it like this small testing. It will be more best, okay? Because in the market, they have too much of the coloring powder. So how you guys get the solution is just get like that, okay?
Can I ask which of these colors is the best to use with meringue-based buttercream, say in IMBC?
Yeah. So, sorry, again the question, where is
Off topic, but can I ask which of these colors is best to use with meringue-based buttercream, say in IMBC?
Okay, so this is a good question. Imagine now you have a buttercream. So your buttercream need to depend. Your buttercream have meringue or without meringue. If now your buttercream is with meringue, so I will suggest you guys, you can using these two types. You can using a powder type water solution inside your meringue. Because you want to imagine your meringue is using by egg white, correct? Egg white is 90% is water, 10% is a protein. So how you dissolve the color inside? Just get the liquid gel or airbrush or the color powder type for the liquid solution inside your meringue. Okay? But if now some recipe, the butter, okay, the buttercream without meringue. Okay? So I will suggest you guys using for a fat solution one, okay, the plum oil one, or you can use it for this, for the fat solution powder inside the without meringue one. Okay, so you can see in the actually I can use it for both. Like in our APCA Chef online, the basic class, they have buttercream. So this buttercream basic, okay, normally they have a meringue type and a fat solution type. So I can use the liquid solution inside the meringue. So I can use a fat solution dissolved inside the butter. So it depends on you. They don't have set a very good which color is a very good brand or anything. Okay, it depends your personal. Okay. So just like that. So you can make for the small packaging. Just wrap like this. Okay, all the gingerbread. So you can see have a ladies version, okay, and a kid version, even the man version also can. Up to you guys. If you guys want selling like this, I prefer you guys because this after dehydrate you can straight put inside the packaging, okay, and just sell like that. Okay. If you feel easy to soggy, so you can buy something like a silica gel, okay, in the packaging. So just put a small silica gel inside here to absorb the moisture because this is a biscuit. So if you guys absorb, depend the humidity, okay, you need to depend the humidity. If you feel this humidity is quite high, so you can buy a small packaging on here. Okay, so this is what I'm doing for this recipe for today. So I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. Yes.
How can we make Italian buttercream white in color when all the time we get is like yellowish?
Yellowish. You need to depend on what color. Normally, you need to depend what color you're using. For here, I just say the brand for you guys. What I'm using is a liquid gel. It's a Chef Master. It's quite economic. We can afford. Okay. If you want the color more stronger, so you can using this kind of a color. No problem. And color you need to adjust is normally if I adjust the color, I will take I need to do some testing. Like I want to testing some leaf green color. So normally I will put some green color plus a little bit yellow color. So what color you need?
No, because when you make the Italian buttercream, right, it has a little bit color.
Yes.
So how to make it white without using color?
How to making white without using color? For this it's not possible. I'm sorry. Okay, because for the white part, you only can add is the white color powder. I just can tell you the white color powder inside. If you see in the market, if the person that told you this item, this buttercream is without any coloring, I won't believe also. It's not possible to make that. Because at least you're using the brow icing. If you use shortening, I wouldn't think you use shortening because shortening is 100% is fat. It's totally unhealthy item. You eat too much, it cannot be too much of a shortening. I'm sorry at that. Okay, so I will prefer you for normally all the buttercream also a little bit yellowish color one. If you want the color is more lighter, your buttercream you just beat up more fluffy. Like that, you can solve some problem. Okay, or you can make. I can give you another solution. It depends your design. So you can put a buttercream after that outside. You can make some meringue to coating a meringue and dehydrate. Up to you. Okay, you can dehydrate a meringue and just put outside anything. Okay.
I usually use gel-based color for all types of icing and oil-based for chocolate. Am I doing it correct?
Yes.
So we see on YouTube that guys are making the buttercream white color. Is it because of the lighting?
I think it's a lightning. I think it's lightning because if you see, we're making for the color for the buttercream. Maybe you see in the YouTube a little bit of the white color. Also can is because you see your total meringue. Maybe your meringue is 60 to 70% in that recipe, and for the butter is maybe it's 30 to 40%. So you can see the color will be more lighter color, and plus our spotlight is quite strong. So that's why you see the color a little bit white color. Okay, but it's not pure white color. It's not possible. Okay.
How many days can you store this before your icing?
If you want to store this with the silica gel, okay, actually you can store for half year also can. Just make sure your storage place must be dry. You put in the airtight container with the silica gel. This item you can storage for half year. Okay. Of course, if you feel soggy, just take out and put in the oven to dehydrate again. Okay, just like that. Okay.
Somewhere I have seen they use a shade of purple with buttercream to get pure white. I've not experimented with that. Would that work?
I'm sorry to say that I didn't try before for that. So maybe I cannot answer this question. Okay. What is silica gel? Oh, good question. If you see this, you can go to the Google type. Okay, this is a silica gel on here. Okay, this silica gel that always you go buy some snack. Okay, sometimes they have a small packaging, or even you buy some shoe, they have a small packaging to absorb the moisture. That we call silica gel. You can go to Google type it. I'll prefer you buy the silica gel with this color. Original color is blue color. Okay, so this blue color, after if dry, it will become blue color. If it absorbs the moisture, it start become purple and pink color. So if it's fully 100%, it's not function, actually it's pink color already. That means the silica gel absorbs a lot of moisture. Okay, so like this, you can reuse again the same. Now it absorbs a lot of moisture on here. Just put back to the oven. Use around like 100 Celsius. Just dry out the moisture and you can reuse again. So this you can reuse a lot of time. Okay, you can just buy for 1 kg, so you can keep reuse and keep reusing. Okay, this is because silica gel to absorb the moisture. Okay, and why I need to choose for the blue color, because no food is blue color. So if this item is you cannot be put in it. Okay, you cannot be it, but you can just put on the side to absorb the moisture. So if this item is dropped inside the food, you can see, oh, a blue color on there, that is a silica gel. Okay, so that's why if the food grade item normally like the glove, anything, normally the kitchen they like to using for the blue color to separate the food and the non-edible items. Okay, so today just like that. Thank you guys, okay, for watching this video.